This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for July 8th, 2026. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the podcast. Happy hump day to everyone out there. And man, I think Zach Wheeler needs to be pissed off more often. Whether it was a combination of being snubbed for the All-Star game because of the rule that if you pitch Sunday, you can't pitch in the All-Star game on Tuesday. Lingering pissed offness from Don Mattingly, whatever it was, that was a Zach Wheeler performance. 7 innings pitched, tied a career record with 14. That's more like it. And truthfully, I need Don Mattingly, Major League Baseball, whoever, to piss every single one of the members of the Phillies team off. Because if they're going to play like that pissed off, look out. But man, what a performance. They went at 4-1. Kyle Schwarber went deep. Johan Duran looked outstanding. And don't look now. Your Phils are only 2 games back of first place. But more interesting than that, I noticed right behind them, it's 3 games back of the Braves, are the Marlins, who have been hot. I feel like the only series recently the Marlins lost was to the Phils. So it's going to be a fun summer. But, man, I need Zach Wheeler pissed off more often. That's all I need. But bullpen game today, I believe Brad Keller is going to pitch today, or at least start it. We'll see what happens in his first game back. But good win. They're back at it tonight, bullpen game. And then, of course, Bryce Harper, on the eve of the All-Star game, announces his SEPTA-inspired cleats. Not going to lie, they look pretty cool. They're silver, but they include all the different colors. If you've ever ridden the subway or the bus or whatever, and you've seen the map with the different lines and the different colors, all those different colors, it's like a silver shoe, and then it actually has the SEPTA map on it. Pretty cool. I don't know. To be good in a pair of Philly Goat loafers. Just kind of throwing that out there. But Phils Reds tonight. Bullpen game, so we'll see what happens. Some Sixers news. And it's Sixers comment, I guess, too. But Sixers news is, and more a Philly basketball type news story anyway. Kyle Lowry officially retires after 20 years in the NBA. Cardinal Doherty got his start there. Of course, went to Villanova, won a title with the Toronto Raptors, and then finished out his career as sort of a player coach on the Sixers. So congrats to Kyle Lowry on his retirement. Congrats on a great career. Certainly made Philly proud. And we'll see what the future holds for him. But Kyle Lowry finally hangs it up. He signed a 1-day contract with the Toronto Raptors, which I love things like that. So it's always cool when player is kind of known or beloved by a team and he goes back there. So congrats to Kyle Lowry. Not sure if that's going to impact his voting in our Ultimate Philly High School Hoops figure tournament, but that remains to be seen. And the other thing, Joe has not been speaking publicly at all. Not even on social media. It hasn't made a comment or anything about Jaylen Brown becoming a Sixer. Jaylen Brown hasn't mentioned Joel. So, of course, it's summertime. That leads the speculation on Sports Talk Radio. And look, maybe they did talk already. Maybe Joe's on vacation. Anything like that is on the table. Maybe Joe is in the process of getting traded and was told not to talk. You never know. There's so many different things. But to speculate that Joe is this, Joe is that, I get you're just trying to drive content, but at this point, it's just like, sure. And we saw it with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But it's like, pump the brakes a little bit. Maybe they did talk privately. Maybe Joe was told not to talk because they're working on a trade. Maybe just Joe didn't have anything to say. Or maybe Joe's realizing the writing on the wall that he's not going to be the number one guy, and he's taking some time to process it and not say something stupid, which is also a good thing. So I mean, I get that there's not a whole lot to talk about, but man, the speculation was running wild. So we'll see what goes on with that. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on it. Is there cause for concern? What's your speculation? 267-495-8531. That's a Back to the Future voice and text line. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related off your chest. But personally, why is everything a story? Why do we got to read between the lines with everything? Why? Because technically, nobody was really allowed to say anything publicly until yesterday anyway. So, yes, he was on a Twitch stream, and VJ and Tyrese called in, but they didn't mention anything about the trade. Joe has been in the league long enough to know. I don't know. I just think in another week or so, if we've not heard from Joe, maybe we get concerned, but we know he's a recluse. We know he doesn't sometimes like to be bothered. We also know that he's a troll. Maybe there's nothing to troll about. Maybe he's, as Ben Simmons used to do, maybe he's in the lab working out, getting stronger for this season. But to speculate that, I don't know. It just, you know how I feel. We'll leave it at that. All right, moving on to yesterday's trivia question in honor of Johnny Callison's walk-off home run in the 1964 All-Star game. It was one of two in Major League Baseball history. Who hit the other? That would be Ted Williams in 1941, winning it for the American League. All right, some quick housekeeping notes. Be sure to continue to spread the word as we try to grow this thing. Every little bit helps. Was working late last night trying to organize some thoughts and get my plans and everything. Got a lot going on. Not quite ready to announce anything yet, but again, lots going on. So your help in spreading the word really makes a difference. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Philly Jimbo, including YouTube, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Philly Jimbo. That all helps the algorithm and gets us in the rotation. Been able to connect with a lot of cool folks with cool stories through the YouTube channel. So certainly something that I appreciate. So at Philly Jimbo on all social media platforms. Want to show off your Philly pride without saying a word? Philly Goat has you covered. From tees, hoodies, shoes, and hats, their gear screams Philly louder than an Eagles fan at the vet. Whether you're tailgating in South Philly or trying to flex down the Jersey Shore, do it in style. Hit up phillygoat.com, use the promo code Jim Montgomery, and get 10% off your order. Philly Goat, because being Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. Go Birds! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Philadelphia Eagles. Happy birthday to you. That's right. Today, July 8th, are your Philadelphia Eagles' birthday. They are 93 years old today. They were founded in 1933 by Bert Bell and Lowry. They were awarded the rights to the Philadelphia franchise. Bert Bell borrowed $2,500 from his wife, who was a famous Broadway actress. They paid the initiation fee to get into the NFL, as well as the remaining assets from the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets. It is important to note that a lot of people dispute this, but the Eagles were considered an expansion franchise, not a continuation of the Yellow Jackets. Yes, they bought some of the supplies and equipment from the Yellow Jackets that were left over. They even wore their jerseys for the first couple seasons, but they were, in fact, their own team. And everybody thinks they were named after the bald eagle, the symbol of our country. But no, in fact, they were named after the National Recovery Administration Blue Eagle from FDR's plan to get us out of the Depression. And the hope was, much like the National Recovery Administration, to lift the spirits of Philadelphia sports fans. So the original eagle was actually blue. They kept like I said, they kept the Yellow Jackets colors for a few years before going to our iconic green. But today is the Philadelphia Eagles' birthday. Happy birthday, Eagles. Let's make 93 a great year. And that does lead us to our trivia question. I mentioned the blue uniforms, the blue eagle. What year did the Eagles officially switch to their Kelly green jerseys, which they had until 1996? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531 or the Discord channel, which is the link in the description. But what year did the Eagles officially switch to green as their color? And that does lead us right into What If Wednesday as well, brought to you by Lotwin. Get your 3D custom hype chains from Lotwin. These things are great for youth sports, bachelor parties, fantasy football prizes, you name it. So go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD to take 10% off of your orders. And it is widely known that the Eagles essentially were 95% moving to Arizona in 1984. Leonard Tost was in some financial issues, worked out a deal, and everything would have gone to plan. I feel like it's a Scooby-Doo episode. We would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids. But a couple reporters got wind from anonymous calls, started investigating it, went to the media, blew it up. It became a thing. The city stepped in, and they renovated the vet, put in some club boxes, and essentially saved the Eagles, Mayor Wilson Goode, from moving to Arizona. But Tost had a deal in place, and it was all set up and ready to go. It would have been the Phoenix Eagles had he gotten his way, if it wasn't for those meddling kids. But anyway, what if the Eagles? It's hard to imagine Philadelphia without the Eagles. Even before the Super Bowls, just very, very hard to to a city without the Eagles. So what if they moved to Arizona? I guess first, does that mean they're wearing the Kelly green out in Arizona? Did they change their name? Does like Randall, Reggie, and does that team play in Arizona, which is even weirder to think about, even though guys like Clyde Simmons and Seth Joyner played in Arizona under Buddy Ryan. So, I mean, that's weird enough. But what about the NFL in Philly? I mean, at the time, the Stars were still here. I believe they were one more year away from moving to Baltimore, and they were a good team. They were a decent draw. Would somehow that had helped the USFL? Would Donald Trump not have gotten as greedy? Could the Stars of the USFL taken over for so many different ways to look at it that way? And then you have an expansion. So would we have gotten the Carolina Panthers or the Jacksonville Jaguars when they expanded? Maybe the Houston Texans in the later 90s. Just so many different moving parts if the Eagles move away. There is a possibility the Rams moved from LA to St. Louis. Maybe the Rams moved to Philadelphia and we have the greatest show on turf in Philadelphia. But I think the bigger impact, the bigger what if is what would be the psyche of fans. I mean, think about how we are with our teams. What would it be like without the Eagles? And would that have had sort of a stuff rolling downhill impact on the Flyers and Sixers and put the pressure on them to maybe spend money and to be that draw, especially in the fall and winter time? Just like I said, crazy to think about, but it was almost done. If it wasn't for those meddling reporters, the Eagles would have been in Arizona. So that is our What If Wednesday, brought to you by Lotwin. Go to Lotwin.com for your 3D custom height chains. Use the promo code TCCPOD to take 10% off your order. And let me know your thoughts on what it would be like without the Eagles. A life without the Eagles in Philadelphia essentially was very, very as close as you could possibly get to being a reality. So what would your life be like without the Eagles? I honestly, as I'm looking around my studio, my office right now, I don't know. 267-495-8531. All right, let's go then. Fast forward to 1947. The Major League Baseball All-Star game took place at Wrigley Field in Chicago. The National League was down 2-1 in the bottom of the ninth with 2 out, not having any other position players. They put in Schoolboy Rowe, who was one of the Phillies pitchers, to pinch hit for Warren Spahn. Schoolboy Rowe fouled out, however, in the process became the first Major League player to appear in an All-Star game for both leagues. The Phillies in that All-Star game were also represented by Emil Verban and Harry Walker, who both were starters. Verban at shortstop and Walker in the outfield. But Schoolboy Rowe becomes the first major leaguer to actually play in the All-Star game for both leagues. Then fast forward 5 years later, the Major League Baseball All-Star game took place in Philly at Shibe Park. The Phillies were the host team. Remember, they shared it with the A's still at this point, but the Phillies got the honor of being the host team. Curt Simmons started as the starting pitcher that day. Granny Hamner was the shortstop. Robin Roberts was also on that team. Curt Simmons pitched the first 3 innings scoreless, striking out 3. Granny Hamner, in his only at-bat, was intentionally walked. But the difference was Jackie Robinson and Hank Sauer each homered as the National League won it 3-2 in a rain-shortened 5-inning game. So Simmons certainly would have made a case for the MVP. No MVP was given because it was only a 5-inning game. But the National League beat the American League 3-2 in 5 innings, shortened due to the rain in the 1952 All-Star game played at Shibe Park. And then fast forward to 2007. Phillies hit home runs by Pat Burrell and Shane Victorino as they beat the Rockies 8-4 out in Colorado in their last game before the All-Star break. There was a rain delay in this game, which featured strong winds, and I remember this game well watching it. The ground crew was struggling to get the tarp on the field, causing a dangerous situation. So the Phillies bench came in, saved the day, and hopefully it was those good vibes that led them to the NL East title that year. But the Phillies players came out, helped them put the tarp down before retreating to the locker room. Phillies did win that game, though, 8-4. And then 4 years later, it was the Phillies-Braves at Citizens Bank Park. Game tie going into the 10th inning. Juan Perez threw an immaculate inning in the top of the 10th. Talk about clutch. 9 pitches, 9 strikes, 3 strikeouts to get the win. But it was Raul Ibanez with the walk-off homer in the bottom of the 10th to give the Phillies the win. So some 10th inning heroics from Juan Perez and Raul Ibanez, an immaculate inning and a walk-off home run as the Phillies beat the Braves. And then finally in 2021, Brad Miller hit 3 home runs and had 5 RBI. Didi Gregorius also homered as the Phillies shut the Cubs out 8-0 at Wrigley. Brad Miller, 3 home runs in a game. Didn't have that one on my bingo card. All right, and then finally today, our ultimate greatest Philly high school hoops figure tournament brought to you by Beach Caddy. Go to beachcaddy.app if you're in Stone Harbor, Avalon, Sea Isle, Wildwood, or Ocean City. They'll take the stress out of your Jersey Shore vacation. They'll move you in, move you out, so you don't even have to worry about it. And then best beach carts at the Jersey Shore. So go to beachcaddy.app. Let them take the stress out of your Jersey Shore vacation. And for this summer, use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your move in, move out, as well as your beach cart rentals. Yesterday's results out of the suburban region. The Coatesville contingent was in full effect as Richard Hamilton moves on with 77% of the vote, beating Bo Kimball. I don't necessarily disagree. 2 of my favorite players of all time. It was a tough one. So Rip moves on to face Kobe Bryant in a battle that those kids had since they were in middle school. We have 5 more round of 32 games left, so this tournament is slowly winding down. Today we go to the Southwest Regional, and we have a 3-6 matchup. DeJuan Wagner versus Wayne Ellington. Let's start with DeJuan Wagner. Camden High School, graduated as New Jersey's leading scorer and still is. 3,462 career points. Let that sink in. 3,000 points in high school. Wilt only had 2,600 or so, or 2,300. Kobe, I think, was 26, 28. So DeJuan almost had 1,000 more points than those two. But anyway, DeJuan also scored 100 points in a game. He was McDonald's All-American. He was a parade first team and second team All-American. Averaged during his high school career, or his junior and senior years, 42.5 points per game. Helped lead Camden to the Group 3 state championship. Also won the New Jersey Tournament of Champions title. He was National Player of the Year. Went to Memphis where he spent 1 year. Helped lead the Tigers to the NIT championship where he was the MVP of the NIT tournament. They beat my Owls in the semifinals of the NIT. He was the number 6 pick in the NBA draft. Had a 4-year career before he had some health issues. Ended up losing half of his colon. Did play 1 year in Poland. His dad was Milt Wagner, and his son DeJuan Wagner Jr. didn't make this list, but he was on the bubble. So definitely South Jersey hoops royalty. Taking on Wayne Ellington, started his career at Daniel Boone, went to Episcopal, amassed over 2,000 points between the two schools. He too was a McDonald's All-American, a Parade All-American, first team All-Pennsylvania, helped lead Episcopal to back-to-back Interact titles. They didn't play in the PIAA tournament. He was a 5-star recruit, went to North Carolina, helped them win a national championship where he was the most outstanding player of the tournament. They retired his number 22. He was a 28th pick in the NBA draft. Had a solid 13-year NBA career. Also did a little assistant coaching in the NBA as well. But now it's your turn. Who moves on? DeJuan Wagner or Wayne Ellington? Get your votes in any way you can. I'm telling you, these matchups are going to start getting good, or better, I should say. They've been good so far. But DeJuan Wagner versus Wayne Ellington. Who moves on? Hit me up on any social media at Philly Jimbo, 267-495-8531, the Back to the Future voice and text line. Let me know who wins, DeJuan Wagner versus Wayne Ellington. On this day in 2021, Brad Miller hit 3 home runs as the Phillies shut out the Cubs 8-0 out at Wrigley. 2011, Juan Perez threw an immaculate inning, and then Raul Ibanez walked it off in the 10th inning as the Phillies beat the Braves at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies helped save the day in Colorado, helping the grounds crew catch and put down the tarp during a rain delay when it wanted to go fly away in the wind. The 1952 All-Star game was played in Philly. Kurt Simmons got the start on the mound. National League wins it 3-2 in a 5-inning rain-shortened game. Jackie Robinson and Hank Sauer each homered in that game. 1947 Major League Baseball All-Star game. Schoolboy Rowe. It's a hard name to say. Schoolboy Rowe. Flied out as a pinch hitter in the bottom of the 9th, becoming the first player in Major League history to play in the All-Star game for both the American and National League team. And of course, happy birthday, Eagles. A very happy 93rd birthday, I should say. Hard to believe. Don't look a day over 84. But happy birthday to the Eagles, founded and named on this day by Bert Bell and Lud Ray. We'll have more on the Phillies tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts on the whole what if the Eagles moved to Arizona thing. It's one of those interesting, glad it didn't happen, but Jesus, it almost did happen. So that's a scary thought. So many different butterfly effects, I guess you can say, about what could have happened. But we'd love to have some conversation about that today as well. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History for July 8th, 2026. My name is Jim Montgomery, Go have yourselves a hump day. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.